study any form of technological wave and adoption, you'll understand that like the initial Trojan horse is a good sort of way to exemplify this, but the initial emergence of a new technology is typically not the end state. And if anything, ends up being more of a proof of concept. Now, that can mean that that initial thing ends up evolving over time. It certainly has a first mover advantage. But if anything, it has functionally proven that people getting together under a very powerful idea is it like can create a ton of value in society and can disrupt a system that we can all agree is not working. Right. And so it solves a real problem. It does it at scale. And, you know, as Pluterme said recently, you know, it has the potential, and I think that's a key word, obviously, like we have to make sure that it actually happens, to help with some form of wealth redistribution or something of the like, because the only people who have the risk appetite, the tolerance, the patience, you know, the willingness to sit through all of this quote unquote volatility is the people who can't even see it, right? And want to stand for something larger than, you know, number go up or number go down, and want to shoot so high that, you know, I don't care if my $100 turns into $10,000. I want it to turn into $1 million. Otherwise, I'm never going to touch it. And in order to get to $1 million, you have to be so insane in the first place that you might not even touch it when it gets there, right? And a rich person is just not good at that. Like they're not going to be able to do that. And so I think that plus Tans actually had an amazing tweet the other day. It was probably a month ago, where he said that SPX is the only idea on the market since Bitcoin where it was so powerful that people exited, made a lot of money, and couldn't find anything else, and were forced to sort of get involved again, right? And
quite literally,
yeah, I think that also says something, because the reality is this isn't not financial advice. This isn't to tell anyone, you know, what to do with their money. Like, I think anyone who wants to sell a certain amount at a certain time or have their own plan or do whatever should do that if they want to. I don't know. Everyone can do what they want to do. But there just really aren't long-term holds that make a ton of sense in my eyes. And this is one of the very few, like sub maybe 10 assets in the world that you can make the argument it makes sense to hold and be a part of.
I agree. Yeah. I think what we'll see also is like when we do have a parabolic move and there's going to be a bear market and people exit early, that's natural. They're going to find that like, okay, there's no other community. A lot of communities are going to try to replicate it, but you're just going to be like, well, SPX is it's still here, still kicking. Like I'm going to join back in. Like I already see myself probably doing that. So it makes perfect sense. And like, you know, I want to see on the Bloomberg screen S&P 500 and then SPX 6900. Like I just want to hear the news anchors just say that out loud, just so they understand how ridiculous this whole system is. And that's kind of the point that we're proving. And like, I don't know, that just warms my heart just to know that that's going to happen.
And you have to have a degree of loyalty to have been here in the first place anyway, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, right, you would have moved on, or you would have done something else, or even just held your tokens and left, and, you know, I'll pay attention when it feels good again or whatever, right? So I think the people that are here are gonna, in whatever capacity that takes, like their loyalty factor and characteristic and sort of their dreamer or romantic characteristic are just too high, and likely they are going to, you know, buy back in, try to be a part of it again. And think about how many more people there are that applies to, and or that are like struggling in other aspects that just need the pure hope of, I actually, you know, it doesn't matter to me if SPX goes to $69,000. The idea that it could, and it could send a big middle finger to the people that I am sort of pointing at and saying, hey, my life is worse because of you, is very valuable to people, because they don't really have another means to protest and say, I'm not happy.
Yeah, absolutely.